All right, so today, the Labour Party in the UK, they released their manifesto for 2019. And Jeremy Corbyn said a lot of things similar to Bernie Sanders. Even since before, people tend to compare them a lot. You know, they're these old dudes, progressive socialists who've been saying the same thing for 40 years, marginalized by the establishment. And he said a lot of similar things to Bernie Sanders in his speech today, which I'm going to show you in a second. It's quite striking. Okay.
President Franklin Delano Roosevelt had to take on the rich and powerful in America to do it. That's why he said, "They are unanimous in their hate of me, and I welcome their hatred."
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
That you'll see this manifesto and vote for the person who's struggling, who you do not even know. Vote for the young person who can't go to the youth centre after school. Vote for the mum falling into debt.
Take a look around you and find someone you don't know. Maybe somebody doesn't look kind of like you. Are you willing to fight for that person as much as you're willing to fight for yourself?
We will deliver real change for the many, not the few.
Not me, us.
Very, very similar things to what Bernie Sanders was saying. Now, if you remember, Bernie Sanders used that quote by Roosevelt where he's saying, "I welcome their hatred." He used the same exact quote. And Bernie Sanders at the Queen's rally, he said, fight for someone you don't know. Jeremy Corbyn is saying, vote for someone you don't know. So I put these clips side by side so you can see what I'm talking about. And their campaign slogans are very similar too. Bernie Sanders' campaign slogan, "Not me, us." Jeremy Corbyn, "For the many, not the few." So very similar things going on. And I think it's a good thing, you know, whether he's copying Bernie or not is irrelevant. It's good that they have a similar, cohesive, progressive message and they're running on the same things and, representing the people. It's a populist message. So that's what counts. So you can see now why people compare them a lot of the time. They are similar in many ways and it's very interesting. So yeah. And he also released a video on Twitter where he broke down the major policies in about 60 seconds, okay? He gave you a quick summary of what the Labour Party is running on next month, on December 12th, the election day. So let's take a look at that, all right?
Big news! We've just launched our new manifesto. So I thought I'd take just 60 seconds to run through as many of the policies as I can. Okay, 60 seconds starting now. 26 billion for our NHS, recruiting the doctors and nurses we need, 1 million new affordable homes to rent or buy with the biggest council house building programme in decades. We'll give you the final say on Brexit within 6 months. We'll end NHS privatisation, bring down waiting lists and put patients first. We'll scrap university tuition fees, kickstart a green industrial revolution to tackle the climate emergency and create hundreds of thousands of new green jobs of the future. We'll build a national care service with free personal care for over 65s, the fastest fibre optic broadband free for all, a Sure Start centre in every community. We'll protect the pension triple lock, protect the free bus pass, protect the winter fuel payment and protect the over 75s free TV licence. A real living wage of at least £10 per hour for all workers, boosting the pay of 7.5 million people, introduce a national education service, making world-class education available throughout people's lives, more money for schools, reduced class sizes, and have public ownership of water, energy and Royal Mail. We'll double the spend on children's mental health and have a counsellor in every school to take railways into public ownership. Okay, my time's up, but that's only 60 seconds worth. There's 104 pages in here. A fully costed plan to transform Britain after almost a decade of cuts and neglect under Tories and Lib Dems. Take a look and decide for yourself. Boris Johnson's Tories, bankrolled by billionaires, or Labour on your side, offering real change for the many, not just the few. Take care. See you soon.
So there you go. This is what the Labour Party is running on in the 2019 elections. Very similar rhetoric to what you're hearing from Bernie Sanders and the progressive movement in the US, okay? So Green New Deal, action on climate change, right? $15 minimum wage, £10 minimum wage. Reinvesting in infrastructure, same thing here. And by the way, Jeremy Corbyn goes even further. He wants to nationalize the rail system again, the Royal Mail, and water and energy. They both talk about taxing the rich, making the rich pay their fair share. By the way, another thing regarding infrastructure is that Jeremy Corbyn wants to create high-speed broadband internet provided by the government, okay? British broadband. And it's going to be free for everyone, free internet access. Now, as you can see, this is a very populist, socialist-driven movement that the Labour Party is putting forward, okay? Like I said, in some parts, it goes even further than what Bernie Sanders is proposing. And it's very good, man, because you're having the same scenes of wealth inequality in the UK that you have in the US. Maybe not that drastic, but definitely on the same path. And what Jeremy Corbyn is trying to do is close that gap. One major issue that the Labour Party is looking to fix is Brexit, of course, okay? Now, the Conservative position, the Tory position, is that we made a deal, now let's just leave the EU. That's it. However, what Jeremy Corbyn is saying, what the Labour Party is saying, is that they are going to negotiate a better deal that protects UK workers, makes sure that there's a good trade relationship between the UK and the EU, and they're going to offer that in a referendum, also with the option to stay in the EU, to remain. Okay, so they're giving you the option. Let's take this better new deal, or you can vote to remain in the EU. I think that's a better option. I think that's a much wiser decision, because when people voted for Brexit in 2016, they didn't know what it really meant and what it would entail. So now with a deal actually hashed out, with a new, better deal, then you have a real choice. Okay, do I want this or do I want to stay in the EU? That's a much better alternative. We'll see what happens with the election. It's on December 12th. It's a bit nerve-wracking. Conservative Party are doing a bit better in the polls. But then again, that could change. Who knows? As you guys saw my other video about the debates in the UK, polls were split 50-50. Some people said that Boris Johnson won. Some people said that Jeremy Corbyn won. I honestly don't think it was that thrilling. And the US debates from last night were even less thrilling. Okay, that was torture to watch, 2 hours of garbage. But anyway, the Labour Party manifesto is very comprehensive. It's very good. It's 104 pages, so I understand if you don't want to read it, but I gave you the main bullet points. Like I said, it's very similar to what Bernie Sanders is running on in the US, and it goes actually even further. So there you go.